Eva is the daughter of the director of the city's largest hospital, born into extreme wealth. She is domineering and arrogant. She also possesses an intense desire for control. Through her father's introduction, she began dating Tenma, a brilliant surgeon. The two eventually became engaged, but not long after, when faced with the choice between saving a young boy or saving the mayor, Tenma chose to operate first on the boy who had been brought to the hospital earlier. As a result, the mayor died. Tenma was subsequently demoted by the hospital director. When Eva learned of what had happened, she decisively abandoned him. She immediately threw herself into the arms of another man. Yet the very next day, her father was murdered. The killer was none other than Johan, the boy Tenma had saved. Even more horrifying, over the following 9 years, Johan went on to murder 4 different foster couples who had adopted him. Only then did Tenma realize that although he had saved one life, he had indirectly caused the deaths of many others. He had unleashed a monster, and so Tenma made up his mind that no matter what, he had to stop him. During his pursuit of Johan, the kind-hearted Tenma redeemed many people along the way, but good deeds went unrewarded. Before long, he was framed and became a wanted fugitive. From that point on, Tenma lived on the run while continuing to track Johan's whereabouts. After her father's death, Eva lost her financial support, and at that very moment, Tenma was unexpectedly promoted by the hospital board to department head. Becoming hospital director was only a matter of time. Upon hearing this, Eva hurried to find Tenma and proposed marriage, but Tenma rejected her without hesitation. The arrogant Eva had never imagined that Tenma would turn her down. This filled her with deep resentment toward him. From that day on, love turned into hatred for Eva. During the 9 years Tenma was gone, she treated every man as a plaything. She drifted from one man to another. Not only did she swindle large sums of money, she also indulged in the pleasure of destroying other people's families. Aside from all this, Eva went to the police station almost every day. She repeatedly urged Inspector Lunge to arrest Tenma. Lunge told Eva that he would definitely bring Tenma to justice. In truth, Lunge had long suspected that it was Tenma who murdered Eva's father 9 years ago. Now that Tenma was wanted nationwide, his capture was only a matter of time. Lunge was eagerly awaiting that day. He had many questions he wanted to ask Tenma. For 9 years, Eva met different married men in her home almost daily. After each man left, she would secretly slip a handkerchief soaked in perfume into his pocket. But one day, she suddenly noticed that the gardener, Bauer, was constantly watching her from the yard. Eva directly asked Bauer whether he liked her. Just like all those other men, Bauer tried to explain himself, but Eva paid him no attention. She only said that she liked the way Bauer took care of the garden, because every time she stood there, it was when she felt the most relaxed. What Eva didn't realize was that Bauer was different from those other men. He genuinely loved her. At that moment, Eva suddenly asked him outright whether he was confident he could make her happy. Bauer was left speechless, yet Eva's words continued to echo in his mind. At the time, Bauer had been divorced for many years, raising his daughter alone. He had wanted to ask his daughter whether she would accept it if he found another wife, but he never managed to ask. After all, he believed Eva had only been joking with him. However, from that day on, Bauer began to care for Eva even more attentively. In his daily life, he constantly showed her concern and warmth. Gradually, Eva was moved by his actions. She invited him to have dinner with her, but for Bauer, this was his first time dining at such an upscale restaurant. He was extremely nervous. Yet in Eva's eyes, Bauer resembled the Tenma she once knew, pure and endearing. She felt as if she had rediscovered that long-lost sense of genuine love. And so, that very night, Eva brought Bauer back to her mansion. When Bauer woke up sober, he realized that he had spent the night in Eva's home. Worried about his daughter being alone at home, he quickly got dressed and prepared to leave. But just then, he heard Eva talking in her sleep. She kept calling out Tenma's name. Hearing this, Bauer said nothing. He simply pulled the blanket over Eva, quietly tucking her in. The next day, Bauer looked around the mansion. Eventually, he discovered a photo of Eva and Tenma together. At this moment, Eva angrily declared that the man in the photo was Tenma, her former fiancé, and also the one who had ruined her life. Eva insisted that it was Tenma who killed her father. If her father had not died, she would not have lost her financial support, and she would not have gone through 3 failed marriages. Although Tenma claimed that everything was done by Johan, Johan was nothing more than a child under 10 years old. How could a child possibly kill an adult? Drunk, Eva continued to complain endlessly, but but Bauer could see her true feelings clearly. Deep down, she did not truly believe that Tenma was a murderer. Bauer said that the photo of her and Tenma on the table was the best proof. She still loved Tenma, yet Eva continued to explain, saying that she had only been attracted to Tenma's status as a genius neurosurgeon. Back then, Tenma had always obeyed her without question, agreeing with everything she wanted. Eva believed she should have been the happiest woman in the world. But just as Eva spoke in a near hysterical state, Bauer suddenly said that he wanted to take Tenma's place in her heart. He said he would spend his entire life building a beautiful garden for her. Those gentle words struck Eva straight in the heart. She told Bauer that the two of them were impossible. She said she had only been teasing him, just playing with an honest man like him. What she truly felt, only she herself knew. Even after being hurt by Eva like this, Bauer still invited her to spend Christmas together. He didn't want her to be so lonely. On Christmas Day, Bauer prepared a table full of food. He even set out tableware for 3 people. His daughter didn't know that Eva was coming. She thought her mother had returned to spend Christmas with them. Seeing how happy his daughter was, Bauer didn't know how to explain the situation. At that very moment, there was a knock at the door. Bauer's ex-wife was actually standing outside. She kept apologizing, hoping to reconcile with Bauer. Bauer was completely at a loss. At the same time, Eva had also made up her mind to go find Bauer. She even carefully picked out a gift for his daughter, but just as Eva raised her hand to knock on the door, she heard laughter coming from inside the house. Unable to resist, she walked over to the window. What she saw was Bauer and his family of 3, happy and harmonious together. In that instant, anger swallowed Eva's reason whole. So this seemingly honest man was no different from all the other men she had met before. The small spark of hope Eva had finally begun to feel was shattered once again. She became even more unhinged than before. After returning home, she set her mansion on fire. Along with it, the flowers and plants that Bauer had so carefully tended were burned as well. She sought out Inspector Lunge again to cooperate with him. At this point, she had only one thought. If Tenma did not die, she would never have a good life. Nina had been very close to her brother Johan since childhood, but one day, she witnessed him murder their adoptive parents with her own eyes. In that instant, Nina felt as though she had seen a demon. She shot her brother in the head. Nina believed she had destroyed the demon herself. What she didn't expect was that a doctor named Tenma would save Johan's life. By then, Nina had lost her memory due to extreme trauma. Not long after, she was adopted by another couple. She went on to live a peaceful life. But on her 20th birthday, Johan found her, and with his own hands, he murdered her adoptive parents. Nina finally remembered everything. At that moment, she had only one thought. She had to find Johan and kill him. Otherwise, even more people would die. After gathering information from multiple sources, Nina found a bar called Candy. The owner was one of the mafia bosses, a man nicknamed Baby. He might know Johan's whereabouts. Without any hesitation, Nina went to the bar, but for several nights in a row, she never saw the so-called Baby. Instead, she was constantly harassed by lecherous drunks. Just as Nina was about to take action, Baby's men finally appeared. They took her into a hidden room. There, Nina saw the man known as Baby. True to his nickname, Baby was short in stature, almost like an infant, yet his face was twisted and lecherous. Nina immediately pulled out her gun and demanded to know Johan's whereabouts, but Baby calmly told her that as long as Nina was here, Johan would definitely appear. At that moment, Nina didn't understand what he meant. That was until Baby took her to an apartment, where she met a professor named Gottlieb. Gottlieb explained everything to her, and handed her a photograph. The photo showed Johan as a boy, standing beside a general named Wolf. Professor Gottlieb and General Wolf, along with 2 other mysterious figures, were the leaders of a secret organization. They had approached Nina in order to lure Johan out, so that he could become the organization's sole leader. In Gottlieb's eyes, Johan possessed no human emotions at all, and that was precisely what Gottlieb needed. Nina could not understand why these people were so certain that Johan would come as long as she was here. She had absolutely no interest in their so-called organization. At this point, the only thing Nina wanted was to kill Johan, so she chose to cooperate with Gottlieb temporarily, waiting for Johan to appear. Although her handgun had been taken away, Gottlieb failed to notice that she still had another gun hidden along her inner thigh. What they didn't realize was that she wasn't the only one searching for Johan. At the same time, Tenma followed the clues he had uncovered, and found the police officers who had colluded with Johan. He had now confirmed that it was not Johan who killed Nina's adoptive parents, but the two police officers Johan had manipulated. One of them had fled abroad with the money, while the other had fallen into drug addiction. Tenma intercepted the officer who was about to make a deal with drug dealers and forced him at gunpoint to reveal Johan's whereabouts in order to stay alive. The officer told him everything. He didn't know where Johan was, but he did know a man named Baby, who was also searching for Johan. Baby was one of the local mafia bosses, and also a leader of the far right. He didn't know why Baby was looking for Johan either, but Baby had once instructed him that if he ever saw Nina, he should trick her into going to Baby. With Nina there, Johan would surely be drawn out. Hearing this, Tenma became deeply worried about Nina's safety. Without wasting a moment, he rushed toward Baby's bar. What he didn't know was that Nina had already left. Just as he was about to go inside, he was stopped by a kind Turkish woman. She warned Tenma that the candy bar was a nest of right-wing extremists. Her friend had been captured by them and had been missing ever since. For someone like Tenma, an East Asian man, going inside would be extremely dangerous. Tenma could only say that he was trying to save a girl, but the woman told him that the girl had already been taken away by car and was most likely brought to Baby's home. Tenma immediately chased after them, but before he could get very far, Baby sent people who deliberately ran him down with a car. After that, they dragged Tenma to a hidden basement and locked him up. Meanwhile, the boy Dieter, whom Tenma had once saved, was searching for him. Dieter was also a child from the horrifying 511 Kinderheim. He had endured brutal training and abuse there, but compared to the other children, he was one of the lucky ones, because he had met Tenma. Now, however, Dieter had no idea where to find him. When he was sitting by the roadside, hungry and exhausted, the same Turkish woman who had given Tenma information noticed him. Out of kindness, she took Dieter home and fed him. Dieter also told her everything without holding back, including the fact that he was looking for Tenma. When the woman learned that Dieter was searching for a Japanese man, she immediately thought of Tenma, whom she had just encountered outside the candy bar. She quickly told Dieter everything she knew. After hearing this, Dieter didn't hesitate at all. He went straight to the area near the candy bar. In a narrow alley, he spotted Tenma's coat. Following the alley deeper inside, Dieter finally discovered the basement where Tenma was being held. Unfortunately, his movements were noticed by Baby's men. They knocked Dieter unconscious on the spot. At that time, Tenma was being interrogated by Baby. Baby told Tenma that East Asians like him never should have appeared in this place. He said that the next night, he would burn down the entire street where Turkish people lived to welcome Johan's arrival. Tenma immediately refuted him. He said Johan would never become the leader of their organization because Johan did not possess the same despicable racial hatred and prejudice as Baby. Johan looked down on all humans equally. In other words, Johan did not discriminate against races. He despised all of humanity. Baby was furious upon hearing this. He said that if it weren't for the fact that Tenma was to be handed over to General Wolf, he would have killed him long ago. When Tenma heard the name Wolf, he instantly remembered what someone had once told him. Wolf was the first person to discover Johan's talents. All the pieces of the truth seemed to be slowly coming together. At that moment, Wolf's men arrived at the basement to take Tenma away. At the same time, Baby's men also dragged Dieter into the room. Baby originally planned to kill a nobody like Dieter on the spot, but after Wolf's subordinates heard that Dieter was connected to Tenma, they immediately shot and killed Baby's man. Then they walked straight up to Tenma and addressed him as General Wolf's honored guest. Tenma didn't understand what Wolf wanted with him, but he still followed the two men. After all, only by meeting General Wolf could Tenma learn the truth. According to them, Nina was also waiting at General Wolf's place. At this moment, Nina was locked inside a room. Suddenly, she heard a woman's cries for help coming from the sewer. The woman said she was on the 3rd floor. Who exactly was this woman? And what was her true purpose? We'll find out in the next episode.